Hello, and welcome to Impact Security Group Safety Orientation video. Today we'll be going over some important information regarding your health and safety. Please ensure that you have downloaded and printed off your copy of the Company Safety Orientation Handbook and the Orientation Quiz. Both need to be available to you at the completion of this video. My name is Kent. I'm looking forward to discussing safety and health with you today. I'm a safety consultant with Serenity Safety Consulting here in Winnipeg. We were the first COR certified safety consultant in the province of Manitoba. I'm also a registered auditor with the Construction Safety Association of Manitoba, and I've been working with Impact Security Group on the implementation of their COR safety program. So today, why are we talking about safety? Well, safety shows that the company is recognizing that they have a moral responsibility to their employees, that the company is showing good business sense. Companies that have safety programs have been proven to have more efficient and better run operations. Government compliance. The law in Manitoba says that all companies are supposed to have a safety and health program in place. And finally, the National COR Standard. The National COR Standard is a certificate of recognition program that shows that the safety and health program has been audited and reviewed by an independent auditor and meets the standards set forth by Manitoba legislation. COR is now being used as a qualification to work on significant projects. More and more in the construction industry especially are expecting their clients to be COR certified. So we are going to comply with the standards and the legislation, put investment into our people, and move forward with the COR safety program. Please open your handbook to page 3, and it has the company safety policy. Company safety policy, please read along with me. The personal safety and health and well-being of every employee at Impact Security Group is considered to be one of our most important responsibilities, and as such, is a major area of concern to management. We believe that a good safety performance is one of the leading indicators of a well-managed, efficient, and profitable operation. Impact Security Group will ensure that all workers have a safe and healthy work environment, as is their right under the Workplace Safety and Health Act and regulations. Our safety objective must be an honest, zero accident frequency rate on a continuing basis for each employee. In working towards achieving this goal, our everyday attitudes must never reflect the misconception that accidents are an acceptable and an unavoidable consequence of doing business. We realize that accident prevention is a shared responsibility, and in order to achieve this goal, all employees must work together to identify and eliminate or control the hazards present in the work environment. In pursuit of this goal, Impact Security Group will provide training to their employees to do their job safely and effectively. They'll maintain equipment to acceptable standards, develop safe work practices and procedures, and provide adequate supervision and instruction. We will make available special protective equipment and devices to help protect employees against particular hazards and ensure that they are utilized. We will conduct a yearly review of this safety policy and ensure that it is functioning effectively and efficiently. It is the employees' responsibilities to carry out their activities in the most knowledgeable and safest manner possible, thereby avoiding injuries to yourselves or other fellow employees. We want you to point out unsafe conditions and acts on the worksite, and use all devices and wear articles of clothing and personal protective equipment as specified in the company safety rules, our safe job procedures, and of course the Workplace Safety and Health Act. Any accident is a reflection that somehow we have failed in our responsibilities. We will trust that you will all cooperate fully and join us in a personal commitment to make safety a way of life. Of course, the safety information in our policies does not take precedence over the Workplace Safety and Health Act or its regulations. As I said, everything we're talking about today is going to be based on the Workplace Safety and Health Act and its regulations. This is critical for all workplaces in Manitoba. Each worksite will have its own copy of the Act and regulations available to the workers at all times, either a paper copy or electronically on your smartphone. It is part of your right to know, to be able to reference the Act and regulations, and to see what it says regarding the duties and activities that you carry out for the company. As a quick review, so that everybody understands the Act and its regulations, the Act is the first part, divided into 5 parts. It specifies responsibilities and the rights of all parties in the workplace, including owners, workers, and supervisors. And it gives the legal power to the Workplace Safety and Health Department, downtown Winnipeg. The regulation is the second part. It has 42 parts, detailing the specific information for industries and occupation in the province of Manitoba. It outlines the requirements that employers and employees need to follow and gives us detail on procedures that need to be followed in the workplace. As I said before, your employer has many responsibilities here in the workplace that they are required to follow. Please read through pages 4 and 5 in your Employee Orientation Handbook for a detailed outline of the responsibilities for all parties here at Impact Security Group. It is important that we understand what we are responsible for on the worksite, and that we live up to those responsibilities to ensure that our safety is protected, as well as the safety and health of all people, whether working with them or bystanders here in the workplace. Impact Security Group has also developed some general safety rules and regulations to make sure that we are committed to making safety a priority here in the workplace. We'll review those rules just quickly, so make sure that everybody understands them. Number 1, this is on page 6 of your employee safety handout. Rule number 1, no task or job will be performed without a pre-job safety inspection being completed, all hazards identified and neutralized. Any specialized training required to control and identified hazards must also be completed prior to the commencement of the task or job. Number 2, personnel are required to wear appropriate clothing and uniforms on work sites at all times. Number 3, all officers while on duty, regardless of whether they are on a break, are to required and remain alert at all times. Impact Security Group holds a zero tolerance policy in relation to remaining awake and alert at all times while on a duty. Any employee found not awake and alert while on duty is subject to having their employment terminated. Number 4, all officers, when feeling ill, have a responsibility to alert the 24-hour communication center so they can be replaced immediately by a mobile supervisor or another successful candidate prior to falling asleep. Number 5, all personal protective equipment, whether personally supplied or supplied by the company, is to be utilized on all work sites. Number 6, consuming or being in possession of alcohol or illegal drugs on any company site or client's job site is strictly prohibited. Anyone found under the influence of a controlled or uncontrolled substance will be immediately removed from the work site, subject to disciplinary action. See our drug and alcohol policy for further information. Number 7, fighting, horseplay, practical jokes, or otherwise interfering with workers is prohibited. Number 8, theft, vandalism, and other abuse or misuse of company property is also prohibited. Number 9, all unsafe actions and conditions, including near-miss incidents, should be reported promptly. 10, all incidents that result in damage or injury are also to be reported promptly. 11, first aid treatment is to be obtained promptly for all injuries. 12, all work shall be carried out in accordance with appropriate safe work practices and your supervisor's direction. Number 13, only vehicles, tools, and equipment that is in good repair, with all guards and safety devices in place, shall be used. Any item deemed to be in need of repair or replacement must be tagged and reported to your supervisor immediately. Number 14, every worker shall keep his or her job site and equipment clean and orderly. Number 15, any violations to these rules and regulations will result in disciplinary action being taken by your supervisor. And number 16, any rules and regulations that our customers have must also be followed in addition to these company rules. Violations will result in disciplinary action being taken by your supervisor. At Impact Security Group, we have two sets of disciplinary action available to us. One is for our non-unionized employees, and the other is for our union employees. Non-unionized employees will follow the 4-strike rule, where the first infraction will be given a written warning, second infraction, potentially sent home for that day, third infraction sent home for the day plus another one, and the fourth infraction could result in indefinite suspension or termination of your position with the company. For unionized members, we will follow the appropriate disciplinary action as set forth by your contract regulations. In Manitoba, workers have 4 rights that are guaranteed to them by law. Please see page 8 of your employee orientation handout. We'll go over those rights and what they mean to you as a worker. Right number 1, all workers have the right to know. You have the right to know about the hazards in your workplace and what precautions must be taken to prevent injuries and illness from these hazards. An example of this right is the Workplace Hazardous Information Material System, WHIMS, as well as job-specific hazards and training appropriate to the jobs that you do. As you know, all employees of Impact Security Group have to be licensed security guards. This is an example of your right to know being enforced. Your right to know includes knowing about the hazards in the worksite. These should be reviewed with you by your supervisor prior to starting work at a given location. All workers have the right to participate. That means you have the right to be part of the safety and health program. As we said before in the company safety policy, workplace safety is a shared responsibility. It is something that we all need to be part of. This includes being part of the Workplace Health and Safety Committee. The Workplace Health and Safety Committee meets on a regular basis here at the main office on Main Street. If you have any questions, please stop by the office or ask your supervisor for information on your safety representatives and the safety committee members. Workers have the right to refuse any task for which they have reasonable grounds to believe it is unsafe. The right to refuse unsafe work is a fundamental right in the Workplace Safety and Health Act and its regulation. And finally, workers have the right to carry out your duties and to exercise your safety and health rights without fear of discrimination. Again, this is enshrined in workplace safety law in Manitoba, and the Workplace Safety and Health Division takes this very seriously. Officers are available 24 hours a day to investigate workplace safety and health discrimination and right to refuse situations should you have any questions. Workers carrying out their duties and exercising these rights are set forth in the Safety and Health Act and its regulation. Remember, with our rights goes the responsibility to make sure that safety and health follows everybody at the work site. We want you to take reasonable care to protect yourself and the others in the workplace by your actions or the omissions that you may fail to do in the work site. Make sure that you use proper use of your safety equipment, all clothing, and safety devices in your work site. Cooperate with the workplace safety and health committees or representatives, and cooperate with all people regarding workplace safety and health matters. This is your legislated responsibility. It is our duty to follow the Act and regulations. Since exercising your right to refuse is an important aspect of workplace here in Manitoba, we've developed a right to refuse unsafe work procedure. Please review this procedure. Make sure that you understand it. As I said before, the Safety and Health Act says that any worker may refuse to do work at a workplace if they have reasonable grounds to believe the work is a danger to themselves or to others in the work site. You cannot be disciplined, you cannot be penalized for exercising your right to refuse unsafe work. However, I like to stress that with the right to refuse is also your right to participate. Safety is a shared responsibility. We need to come up with a solution to get the job done in the workplace. Should you find yourself wishing to exercise your right to refuse, step one is to report it to your supervisor or to any other person who has authority in the workplace. With your supervisor, we then come up with a solution to get the work done. If we cannot come with a reasonable solution, we move to step two. We contact the Workplace Safety and Health Committee or your local representative, and they come to the work site, do an investigation, and again, we come up with a solution to get the work done. Should a solution still not be agreed upon, we move to step three. We contact Workplace Safety and Health, who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their contact number can be found on page 11 of the Safety and Health Manual. A safety and health officer will come to the work site, conduct an investigation, and make recommendations for the steps to control the hazards that have been identified. Once the officer writes the report, it is expected that the work will resume. On page 10 of your Safety and Health Orientation Handbook is the Incident Investigation Policy. Incident investigation is a significant and critical component of a health and safety program. All incidents that happen on the workplace, regardless of how small, need to be investigated, not from the aspect of laying blame or pointing fingers, but to ensure that these injuries and incidents do not happen a second time. On page 10 of the Orientation Handbook, please review the Incident Investigation Policy. It is also important that near misses are investigated. A near miss is defined as any incident that had the potential to cause injury or harm or damage to workplace property, but didn't. Anything that was close. These probably happen on work sites all the time, but we don't think about them because nothing happened. These are the only opportunity to really be proactive, to find holes in the safety program and to correct them before people get hurt. Please report near misses to your supervisor and they'll help you fill out an appropriate form for near miss investigation. Of course, all serious accidents need to be reported to Workplace Safety and Health as soon as possible. If something happens that's serious on the work site, contact your supervisor and they will help you follow the appropriate procedures. Impact Security Group has a policy of no harassment and violence in the workplace per the Workplace Safety and Health Act and its regulation. We will take all reasonable measures to ensure that no employee is exposed to harassment or violence during their employment and ensure we enforce a zero tolerance policy. Please review the harassment and violence policy and ask your supervisor should you have any questions. All employees of Impact Security Group are expected to wear appropriate personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. All employees of Impact Security Group will use the appropriate personal protective equipment when and where it is required. Employees are expected to know how to and what to wear at the appropriate work site. Generally, our personal protective equipment is prescribed by whatever the workplace safety and health regulations require, our company safety rules, and is designed to control specific hazards. Our standard personal protective equipment includes a company-approved uniform and approved fully enclosed footwear. For those of our guards who are working on construction sites, this standard can be expanded to include safety hats, safety eyewear, and high visibility clothing. Depending on the situation, hearing protection, respirators, gloves, or other personal protective equipment as prescribed by the regulation will be provided for all workers and guards. Please contact your supervisor should you have any questions regarding your personal protective equipment, making sure that it is in good condition for every shift that we work. I hope you remember that we talked about rule number 1. All work sites will have a hazard assessment prior to work being conducted at the workplace. Hazard assessments are part of your right to know. They're required by the provincial legislation and our COR certified company safety program. It includes a pre-task hazard inspection that assesses all the hazards in the workplace. It rates the hazards, it puts hazard controls into place, and allows us to perform the work as safely and effectively as possible. Please review these hazard assessments with your supervisors prior to commencing work at any work site. For all work sites, we are developing standard operating procedures that will be available for every guard on the work site at all times. The standard operating procedures will include your hazard assessment that outlines the hazards associated with that particular work site. Standard operating procedures are critical and must be reviewed by all guards at each site with your supervisor. They outline how we handle specific procedures, important contact information for the clients that we're working for, as well as the location of safety equipment. Safety equipment such as fire extinguishers, first aid kits are critical again for your safety. Please make sure that you're familiar with your standard operating procedures and that you understand where your safety equipment can be found, that you have the contact information that is required, and that you understand how to work safe at that work site. One of the ways that hazards are controlled on work sites is by the following of safe work practices. Safe work practices are a type of hazard control that are general do's and don'ts for performing many of the tasks that we do on a regular basis. The safe work practices are typically found in owner's manuals or various industry guides. We have 23 safe work practices that have been developed and reviewed by your safety committee. Your supervisors will go over the safe work practices that are applicable to the work site that you are doing. For example, many employees are not going to be involved in boosting company safety vehicles. However, our mobile guards, this is something that could happen on a regular basis. However, all workers could be involved in heat stress, working in the summertime, working in hot conditions. So this is an example of a safe work practice that all our guards should be familiar with. Please read and understand the applicable safe work practices to your location. These should be listed in your standard operating procedure. As well as safe work practices, we've developed safe job procedures. Safe job procedures are also a hazard control, but they list the steps specific to doing the tasks that we do. Again, please read and understand the safe job practices and safe work procedures that we need to be following at the various work sites. As we talked about personal protective equipment, the personal protective equipment will be outlined by the safe work practices and safe job procedures and the Act and regulations. All staff needs to be able to understand and how to respond to emergency situations in their workplace. You should be familiar with such things such as a muster point. The muster point is where workers go in the event of an evacuation from the worksite. This will be part of your standard operating procedure package and outlined for you by your supervisor. As I said before, your first aid kit locations, your fire extinguisher locations, nearest hospital, of course your telephone locations, and any site-specific material safety data sheets that are required on the workplace. One situation that we want guards to be aware of is initial firefighting, should you discover an uncontrolled fire in the workplace. A quick response, in most cases, can be critical to prevent injuries and damage to the worksite, because most fires start small and escalate due to lack of basic firefighting equipment or people who do not know how to operate the equipment. Often, great damage can be prevented if we act quickly. Of course, we have to make sure that it is safe to do so. So if it is safe to fight the fire and you can get to your fire extinguisher in a quick amount of time, find your fire extinguisher, extinguish the fire. Immediately contact your supervisor or the contact information at the site. Help secure the area to avoid further injuries and damage, and of course, assist in the investigation. On page 14 of the Safety and Health Orientation Handbook, it outlines the PASS method of fighting fires. Pull the pin at the top of the fire extinguisher, which releases the locking mechanism and allows you to discharge the fire extinguisher. Aim at the base of the flames. The fire has to be separated from its fuel source. We aim at the base of flames to extinguish the fuel. Squeeze the lever slowly, sweeping the fire extinguisher side to side. This will put out the fire in the most effective and quickest manner possible. If at any time your safety is in jeopardy, leave immediately by the quickest route and contact your supervisor and the appropriate contact information. Of course, 911 is always the best answer to contact in the event of any emergency. And this will be part of our standard operating procedures to ensure that all guards know what to do in the event of an incident. Also available are the poison control centers and workplace safety and health. As I said before, workplace safety and health and the officers are available to come to work sites 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and are happy to participate in making sure that all workers understand their safety and health responsibilities on the workplace. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you've had the opportunity to learn something new about health and safety. I look forward to working with Impact Security Group and with each and every one of the guards to make safety a way of life and to implement our COR Safety Certified Program. The COR Safety Certified Program belongs to the employees. We want this in place for your protection, to make sure you understand your role and your safety and health responsibilities, and you can exercise your rights as set forth by the Workplace Safety and Health Act and its regulation. Thank you again for your time. If you have any questions regarding this video, please contact the office and speak with their supervisor. They have been fully trained and will be happy to help you. Have a great day.